Alright, before the video gets started, if you could like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, that would be awesome. This is my 91 Rx7. It's got a V8 in it. I haven't showed too much of this since I've painted it on the channel, but I've been working on it. I finally figured out the issues with it and little bugs, and I should be using it this year. Okay, so the car barely got used last year. It only had a handful of uses on it. I think I went to 2 or 3 car shows with it. But the car keeps breaking and had hot start problems, so I haven't done any events with the car. But first thing I did was I added a catch can. So each of these hoses, this one goes over and goes to that valve cover. This valve cover, driver's side, comes to this side of the catch can. So that's all new hoses, and this was for another Rx7 I had, the catch can. I was going to do a turbo setup on it, but that never happened. Then the brake booster, the port in the back is broken, so I have the hose coming around to this port here, and then this hose from the throttle body went to the valve cover originally, so I capped that off, and then this was, since the hose wrapped around this way and went that way, I never knew there was a port there, and that was open the whole time. Big ass vacuum leak. I feel so stupid for that, and that would explain my high idle. No matter what I did, it stayed idling really high, so that's taken care of. I just built this. I got a plasma cutter in the shop, so I made a cardboard template, and then I put this on a piece of sheet. I put the cardboard on a piece of sheet steel and just zipped it out with the plasma cutter and just quickly painted it. This is going to be, well, not only makes it look better, but it's going to be, it blocks air from coming up over the radiator. It's directing everything into the radiator. The car runs hot in traffic and like when in the summer, so that should cure that. I ordered a new hose for this because this is kinked. The thermostat on the car has a, it needs to see flow through it. So usually if you go through a heater cord, it'd be fine. I could drill a hole inside the housing or in the actual thermostat, but I just bought the actual delete hose. It's really short, and it's got the bend in there so it won't kink. So that should help some cooling. But also, I'm keeping this fan, but I'm gonna build something else for this. I just built that for this truck. That's going to be a video coming up, or it should be before this one. So I'm building a fan shroud for this truck, and I'm going to build an identical one for this car. So basically all I did was I drilled a hole and jigsawed it out. I marked it from the inside of the fan, and then I nut-serted it, put some bolts in it. But now I have to bend a 1/2 inch on both sides, just so it has like a 90 degree to keep all the air flowed in there. So basically, it'd be a 90 like that up against the tank on both sides, and then I took a piece of aluminum angle, and I bolted it to this top flange here, and then that the flat plate here is gonna get welded to the angle. I'll show you what I did on the truck. So that's coming up pretty soon, another update on the car. So basically here's an aluminum angle. You can see I have it bolted to here. So basically when this is 90'd in there, right there, it's gonna seal completely around the core of the radiator, and then I'm just gonna weld just probably sections like one here, one there. And that should keep the car cool. Another thing I did was I gutted under the dash, got all the heater boxes out of there. I deleted a lot of wiring. Let me see if I can show you inside the car. I redid some of the switches and the wiring to the switches and how the fuse box power was. I'll show you what the problem was. The battery's right back here behind the passenger seat, and this was my original battery cable, solid strand, And that was my hot start problems the entire time. As soon as the cable would get hot or the car would get hot, not enough current would come from the battery to the starter and the car wouldn't start. We swapped that out for some 2 gauge stranded wire, thin stranded, like welding gauge wire. This is the positive for the goes from the battery to the starter. This is another positive that goes from the battery to one side of the switch, and then the other side of the switch powers a fuse box I have buried in there, and then another wire comes off that side and powers the factory fuse box for the car, which works the blinkers and headlights and all the car functions, tail lights, etc. So now I have this car that starts. I ran it before, and you let it run for like a half hour and just idling. Trying to start it again, the car wouldn't start. So now I changed the wire, let the car run for an hour, and the entire time on off, tried it, and the car would keep starting. The starter never seemed to get hot and never wanted to stop cranking. So I did that the next day also, and that seemed to fix the problem. So that's taken care of. I'm really happy with that. I also had problems with wires being too close to the headers and dangling under the car. I don't know why, but I was kind of lazy or stupid when I built this car, but like even the boots and the tie rods, they weren't connected to anything. They were just, with the angle of the car, it would just bring the boots back and forth. It's pretty stupid, especially with the angle kit in the car. So now that's taken care of. I have a bunch of little small odds and ends. I really want to do that fan shroud. I have plenty of room in there for it. Also inside the car, I plan to strip some of the sound deadening, lighten the car up a little bit. I had to cut around the shifter, so I'm going to try and fill that in with a piece of sheet metal, make it look kind of nice, and then get this boot anchored down. The battery's mounted back there. I have to get a positive terminal because I don't like that one. So I'm trying to finish up all the buttoning up on this car, and then I could rip the car. I could drive it. It'll be actually useful for once. Some of the other upcoming projects, like I said, the fan shroud. I want to. I don't know if I can't. I don't think I can afford a cage right now, but I'm gonna do a harness bar at least. Weld it from B post to B post, and then I want to put my racing harness in there. But the major thing I have to do is I have to swap that rear. I'll insert some pictures in a second, but every time I drive this car, it gets to a rev limiter, or you're spinning the tires at limiter, or you can't launch it. It'll just snap the stub shaft right out of the diff, and then it takes an axle out with it. I'm getting tired of doing that, so I'm gonna have to do the 488 independent rear in it, and then redo my drive shaft. That has to happen, and then I really want to drive this car. It's been far too long. I've had it over 3 years, and the car hasn't done anything yet, and it's time for it. That, and then this truck. So there's gonna be more to come on this car on this channel, so like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.